Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. Sorry about the delay a little bit earlier. Just had a brief technical snafu, which happens, especially when you're doing live radio. I apologize for that. I'm coming to you live via SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio from beautiful Cape May County, New Jersey, which actually has not been beautiful, but overcast and rainy for like the last 2 days. So, but that's fine. It's going to be gorgeous this weekend, and obviously we have a good broadcast for the weather because the traffic was pretty horrendous this afternoon. So when you live in a resort area, that's the situation. That's what happens. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to have great weather this weekend, which is good for the tourists. They'll be very happy. Not really wonderful for us, but that's okay. They live here, but that's okay. We love the revenue, so that it works. My guest today is CEO at Christian Angel Investors. His name is Bill Murray. He's going to talk to us about a new kind of startup funding. Very excited. Going to talk to us about his business model and things like that. I'm excited to talk to him because it certainly is a very unique company. But before we do, let's get to a little bit of housekeeping. If you are not following me on Twitter just yet, you may do so at MoneyTalkMel, or if you dare to follow my political musings, then you can follow me at NJGOP Diva, at NJGOP Diva on Twitter. And hello again to my folks in the Facey chat. Sorry about that. I don't laugh. It's not funny. I hate technical difficulties. And particularly when, you do something and you are pretty sure, like right after you click that button, that's going to be a problem. and it was like right after I clicked a certain button, I was like, that's going to be a problem. And it was, and I was right. I was moving a little too swiftly for my application there, but that's okay. Let's see, what else do we have going on? I am booked, so fortunate. I'm booked all the way out as far as my guests are concerned. Now I'm booked out to like the 17th of May. Because you guys totally rock. My listenership continues to increase, thank God. It's just such a blessing. And Monday, I have my brother in the political fight, one of my many big brothers, Tim Donahue, who's our former mayor locally, but he definitely is a local tax warrior. And very excited about having him on the show. We're going to try desperately to not be overly familiar because we do campaigns together every year, and we spend a lot of time with each other and pretty much end up hating each other by mid-campaign season. And at some point, I cry at least 3 times, but that's the nature of politics. It's not really officially campaign season until I've yelled at someone and shed some tears. Then we know that campaign season has officially begun in earnest. Terrible as it sounds. Keith Little is waving hello, but that's, listen, politics, you're hanging around boys all day. You're like with boys all day. And, boys play rough. And so you gotta, in politics is a blood sport, as someone told me when I first got involved, and that is just very, very true. But he's going to be on Monday. We all know, all of us, part of our little local crew, and local politics all love each other to pieces, and we try to remember that all during campaign season. Okay, so he'll be on Monday. On Tuesday, I have another great guest. Kuram Dara is going to be on. He runs a local tax association. And then on Wednesday, we have Mike Fitzpatrick back on April 2nd. Very excited about that. Thursday, I have a re-air scheduled because I have an appointment. And then Friday, I have Danny Panos who is an author. We're going to talk a little bit about social media and business and feelings and stuff like that. So that's what's going on next week. Only one re-air next week if all goes well. So I'm excited about that. I only have one appointment, unless, of course, there's an appointment that someone hasn't told me about yet, which is not, which happens. Which happens from time to time. I have one major news thing before we go to break. Amazon Prime is raising their prices. Not happy about that because, as you all know, I'm a very big Amazon fan. And but they're raising it from $99, which has been $99 forever, and to $119. And there are 100 million, if I'm not mistaken, households that have Amazon Prime. So, and I am one of those million households. And the article I read said, to put it in perspective, there's only 122 million households in the United States in earnest. So that's how many people have Amazon Prime. So that's going to be, raising it by $20. It's a pretty nice windfall for Amazon. I'm not too mad at them. What are you going to do? All right. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette, and my guest today is CEO at Christian Angel Investors, Bill Murray. We'll be back in a couple of moments.
Seems that the deep state is more entrenched than anyone ever imagined. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards on today's speech from the Edwards Book. You can call former President Barack Hussein Obama many things, but a simple puppet being controlled by others is not one of them. Since long before he was elected, with a little help from his Democrat cheaters are us friends, he meticulously studied ways to undermine our beloved republic. When he became president, one key avenue to that end was the hiring of 7,000 to 8,000 senior services executive members who were employed to destroy any efforts to strengthen, prosper, enable America to reach her potential as a shining city on a hill nation that is the premier example of liberty, freedom, domestic tranquility, equal opportunity, and true justice for all. Before Obama's presidency, there were only 1,000 senior executive services members, and that evil cartel was probably started under Jimmy Carter. They answer to no one and are set to render the Trump administration null and void if they can. Their names are secret, as are their salaries, and they are running all government agencies in secret. That is supposed to be a government of, by, and for the people. With God's help and grace, it shall be again. I'm Ron Edwards. Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Ron Edwards, the new voice of America. Who likes paying taxes? Nobody. That's why Eva Rosenberg from TaxMama.com wants you to pay less of them. Read Small Business Taxes Made Easy and learn how legally hiring your spouse and children can slash your taxes. Learn how to set up a business plan that minimizes taxes, the benefits of setting up an exit plan, how to avoid getting audited, and how to legally increase your deductible expenses with better record-keeping techniques. Don't let the IRS squeeze you out of every penny. Visit TaxMama.com. Click on Ask a Tax Question to get free answers to your tax and business questions. That's TaxMama.com.
My name is David Barnett, and I've been helping people buy and sell small and medium-sized businesses since 2008. So far this year, I've gone on 5 vacations. It's because I've got my own business. When you get tired of being managed by someone else and you decide that business ownership is right for you without the risk of starting your own unproven enterprise, then come over to BusinessBuyerAdvantage.com. There are over 100 YouTube videos on buying and selling businesses that you can watch for free. That's BusinessBuyerAdvantage.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, and my guest today is CEO at Christian Angel Investors. His name is Bill Murray. He's going to talk to us today about a new kind of startup funding for businesses. So I'm very excited about that. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. He has been in sales management for over 30 years, both in the U.S. and Europe. His positions included management, recruitment, training of sales personnel, and he trained them to successfully reach their goals in various fields. And he's the founder of Christian Angel Capital Network, which provides an online platform to match Christian investors with Christian entrepreneurs. Very excited about that. And without further ado, Bill Murray.
Well, thank you, Melanie. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show. I love your show. You're doing a great service for the business community, especially for entrepreneurs and investors. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And we should give a shout out to the one and only Keith Little, who connects people all over the place. And I think he was in the Facey chat for a minute. So give a shout out to Keith. Love him to pieces. He's just fantastic.
Hello, Keith.
So is there anything about your background that you wanted the audience to know that I didn't mention?
Sure, Melanie. First of all, I live in Las Vegas. Really hot. It's almost 100 degrees. So
hey.
About weather here. Yeah, it's a little warm. But I always tell people too that when they call, they ask if I'm other Bill Murray. They say, "Are you the real Bill Murray?" And I say, "Well, to my family, I'm real, but no, I'm not the guy from Caddyshack." So
right.
I do let them know that. Yeah, but I'll tell you why Las Vegas. I came here as a media consultant for a Christian TV network, and they purchased a low-power TV station. And back in '04, and when they turned it on, it was the first time that Las Vegas, crazy party town, had 24/7 local Christian programming. And so then I got involved after that station was up and running, and I stayed here with my family, got involved with real estate, and at some point they decided the network decided to sell the station, and they engaged me to connect with some people who wanted to purchase the station. And the first question they asked is, where do we go to find Christians who want to invest in a company? And that led me on a kind of a trail, and I discovered that there was nothing at that time on the network. There was no Christian angel groups or Christian venture fund or Christian hedge fund or nothing. So I started a blog, and then the blog turned into our website, Christian Angel Investors. And we stay here in Las Vegas because we have over 20,000 business conventions annually. No place on earth has more. I meet people almost every day in my network and who are associated with the website because they're here for business. We are, I think, the business hub of the world.
Really? Now
Oh yeah.
You would think, I would not think, I don't think when you think wholesomeness and Christianity, Las Vegas is not really the first location that comes to mind. Although perhaps that's the reason why you have so many churches, because of the great need in the environment.
That is very true. Sometimes, I've actually had people when they ask, because they don't know where we are, if they haven't read all the way through our website. And I think there's a few that have said, "Oh, where are you guys looking?" "Oh, Las Vegas." You hear click.
Really?
And then yes, that has happened. And then a couple times people say, "Well, how could you live in that horrible, godless place? It's so dark." And I said, "Well, Jesus went to the darkest places in the community. He talked to the ladies of the night and the tax collectors and the undesirables." He talked to all those people because that's where he found, that's where it was darkest, and his light was brightest there.
I was just thinking, like, where else would you go? Like, if you're going to where people are already perfect, quote unquote, then then you're kind of defeating the whole purpose of Jesus, coming here. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I even challenge people. I say, "Where are you from?" They give me some part of the country. And I go, "Oh, so you don't have any sin there? Gee, that must be nice."
Yeah, to live in a sinless place. Where is that? For sure. But I guess, it's just its reputation for debauchery and where everything just like goes on. But I mean, I live not too far from Atlantic City. It's very similar with the casino environment and that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
And has a similar reputation. Not nearly as bad.
Go ahead. I don't want to get too serious here, but we did have an incident back in October, and some crazy guy with a gun. And for the first time since I lived here in '04, almost every casino had "Pray for our city." Actually, word "Pray for our city" on their marquee.
Wow. Well, and when you think of it that way, you're going, now that makes a lot of sense. So tell me about your company. What is the mission of Christian Angel Investors?
That's a great question. What we are as an online platform, Melanie. Getting back to how this started. I wanted a place where Christian investors could, who are looking for Christian companies to invest with, and Christian entrepreneurs who are looking for Christian investors to invest with in their company and partner with them. They could go and have a platform where they could meet. Now, I liken us to a dance hall. And in one door comes the investors, who we do vet to make sure they're accredited. And in the other door comes the entrepreneurs. And of course, we do check to make sure that they have a complete business package, that all the information is there that investors need to make a reasonable decision. And if so, they can go into a password protected investor area where the investors then can look at their materials. We do educate a lot of people. We get over 90% of the business plans we get from entrepreneurs don't involve terms. We tell them that's the number one thing that investors are looking for, because if you watch Shark Tank, right after somebody introduces themselves and the name of their company, the very next thing they say is, I'm offering you sharks today 10% of my company for $100,000, or whatever the terms are. So I tell them that's super important. You got to have terms. You got to know the value of your company today, and then you can talk reasonably about what you're going to give away for X amount of dollars. But what we do is really goes back to a Bible verse. It's 2 Corinthians 6:14. Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. And the reason yoked together is a good term, because if you have think you have two oxen pulling a plow. Well, if you had an oxen and a donkey, that wouldn't work very good.
Very true.
So that's why the Lord put that in there, because it doesn't talk. This isn't about marriage. That's in another part of the Bible. Whenever we are contractually bonded, I guess was the word, with somebody, then we each have to bring, a commitment to the table. And so, if it's two partners and you're equal, then you know each other's, you know exactly what each brings to the table. So, if you're a Christian but you partner with a non-believer, you don't know what they bring to the table. And it's probably not going to be good, because you're already disobeying God's command. It's a command. Whenever it says do not, that's not a healthy tip. That's a command. So it says do not do that. And so when people heed that, they have a much better chance of surviving in the business world.
Very true. So let me ask you, do you vet, and this is going to be probably a tough question, but not one that you haven't had before. Do you vet the Christianity? Because I say all the time, people are in different places in their Christian walk. So how do you determine, or do you determine like the level of Christianity someone is at, and whether or not they would qualify as being a believer? How do you determine that?
That's a great question, because we do get asked that, and we get asked, can you guarantee that everybody there is a Christian? And our answer is very simple. To do that, we don't have to be the Holy Spirit, because only the Holy Spirit knows what's in a person's heart. What we say is, when you sit down, if you are an investor or an entrepreneur, either side, and you finally meet, then a very simple question can kind of discern where you guys are together. Each one should ask the other, how did you come to know the Lord Jesus Christ as your Savior?
Okay.
That's a due diligence question.
It is. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am so uncomfortable with that question, because for me, it feels really personal. But like if like side note, I'm an adjunct professor, and whenever you at a regular secular college, but whenever you apply at like a Villanova or any kind of Christian college, they always ask you that. And I'm like, I don't want to put that on a application. It's not even your business. You know what I mean? It's like
the hiring. I know, it's really against the law to ask that question in most hiring situations. But if someone's going to give you $100,000 of their hard-earned money,
you better talk about it.
They want to know who it is that they're giving this money to, and vice versa. You want to know who this person is, because they might give you $100,000, and it's like when you're not equally yoked. To me, the best way to liken it is it's like a really, really bad marriage, and it probably will end in divorce, and they'll probably go to court where you're suing each other.
True.
Hundreds of times.
And now you're entering into another possibly sinful situation by suing each other, right?
Exactly. That's why it's so important to make sure you avoid that at the beginning, because when just like when people, I tell this, when you're starting a business, and you have a partner, you and your partner are going to spend more time together and more time in conversation than you will with your spouses if you're married.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to spend 12 hours a day probably getting this business off the ground. You come home, you're tired. Oh, hi, honey. What's for dinner? I'm going to bed, or vice versa. The wife comes home and she's starting a business with another partner. Says, "Honey, I'm too tired to eat. I'm going to bed."
That is very true. That is absolutely true. I love that. And listen, that is definitely a good. You would never think about that as like a foundation for a company, but it makes a lot of sense. So, what kind of services do you provide?
Well, as I kind of mentioned, we give a lot of free advice because when we'll look at a business package and say, recently I had a media company, and so media is it's pictures, it's movies, it's great text and all that graphics, and you wouldn't know who they were. Every page was plain Jane. There was nothing exciting on any page. And I said, you have to sell yourself. On a page, you have to sell yourself in a phone call, you have to sell yourself in an elevator and a pitch. You're always selling because you have to sell, you have to get the sizzle to sell the steak. You have to put that out there. And that's another place where we help people. We say, your materials are very bland, or you don't have enough information, or we read your materials, we still don't understand what you do. What is it that you're trying to do?
And that
goes on and on and on.
That's a rough one. I've seen that before. I've had that situation before where I'm reading about a company. I'm like, yeah, I'm still lost. I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
Yeah, rule of thumb, if you put someone to sleep with your materials, they're probably not going to invest with you.
That is very true. Now, you offer funding services as well, right?
We do, and here's how this came about. Most of the people who come to us are not ready for prime time. In other words, they're not ready for investors. They're pre-revenue, they're pre-patent, they're prototype manufacturing, they're pre-everything. And so when they say, gee, if you give me $500,000, I'm going to sell 1 million widgets next year. We're going to make a ton of money. So the investor asks, well, do you have a patent? Well, no, I need $25,000 to get that, from the lawyer. Oh, do you have a prototype? No, I don't have that either. Do you have anybody who's interested? No, I don't have that either.
Okay.
So they really don't have anything. They haven't validated their business model. They don't have subscribers. They don't have sales. They don't have a prototype. They don't have a patent. They don't have anything. So in the past, people would say, well, I'll go to family and friends. I would say, okay, Grandma and Uncle Harry love you, and they may give you the $50,000. But if you blow through it without anything to show for it, they still love you, but you'll have awkward Thanksgivings and Christmases till you pay them back.
Yeah, that is definitely going to be a problem. It creates lots of problems all the time.
Exactly. I've seen families split up over things like that, very sadly. And then people might say, well, I have some equity in my house, or they might say, I own my house for equity. I'll just go to the bank this afternoon and I'll get a home equity loan. And then we ask, well, what are you going to tell them when they say, what are you going to do with the money? And I'll say, I'm going to start a business. And then you'll hear them say, sorry, we don't do that. They will not lend, even with collateral of a house. Now, if you're going to say, I want a home improvement loan, I want to fix the roof or refurbish the kitchen or put a pool in the backyard, they write those checks all day long because you're improving the asset that they could foreclose on if you quit making mortgage payments. But they will not give a nickel to start for a new startup. They won't do it.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, sometimes people say, well, I have a 401k, I've been at this company for 20 years and, they got $150,000 or whatever. And we will tell them, keep it in there because first you have to pay a very hefty penalty fee for early withdrawal. And then this is either your nest egg for retirement or your kid's college fund or whatever. If you blow through that, what are you going to do for retirement? You don't want to put that at risk. So then people would always ask, well, where do we go? Where do we get this money? And in the past, we would say, well, you just kind of got to, ask the Lord and pray through, pray for guidance and help, and then, maybe, to get this bootstrapped. Well, then one day we were consulting, which we do as another service. We consult medium-sized, large companies. The early startups get a little consulting, but they really can't pay for it. So this is where one of our fee-based services. And we are consulting a $30 million a year company that sells dollar stores. And it's not as a franchise model, it's a turnkey. So you find a space starting at 1,000 square feet, which is very big, in a little mini mall where they come in, 2 weeks later, they build everything in that four walls. You have a dollar store. And you can call it anything you want, Melanie's Dollar Store, or you can have any merchandise that you want. They'll sell you, dollar store type items. And they charge $100,000 at that early stage for, 1,000 square foot store, which we thought was reasonable. So we just took it for granted that most people just write a check. And the owners said, oh, no, they get financed. And we thought, oh, so you guys do your own financing for your clients? Oh, no, we don't. We send them to a third party. Oh, really? What do they do? Well, they go to the banks. We go, no, they don't. We know that the banks are this kind of thing.
Wow.
And they said, no, they go to the headquarters through these companies. And there's 20 in the United States, and we'll give you the list. You can look at them and vet them, and see if it might be something for your clients. So we did. But for 3 months, we vetted all 20 companies. And we chose the same one that they used for about a year. We worked with them. They funded a lot of clients. And then at some point we said, why don't we be the first Christian company in this space? So we hired a couple of people from the industry, brought them in-house, and now we offer this service to our clients, our entrepreneurs. Very simple. If they have good credit, we can get them anywhere from $20,000 to $200,000 in 2 to 3 weeks on a signature. They don't need a business plan. They don't need collateral. They don't need co-signers. They don't need anything but 3 good FICO scores, 650 or above. No derogatory like a bankruptcy. Banks don't like that. Tax liens, garnishment, stuff like that. They should have, if they do have credit cards, they shouldn't be maxed out. Banks don't like more than about 35% on each card's balance as an average.
Right.
Inquiries. They don't like to see a lot of loan inquiries. So they really limit you to about 6 in the last 6 months. So we tell people, if you went to look for a new car last month, you probably have more than 6 inquiries, because every dealership will run your credit 2 or 3 times. And they're shopping your loan to see where they get the best rate and where they make the most money based on your credit. So, but if someone does come with us and they do have everything that's in order, they have a great score, they have no inquiries, they have low inquiries, they have low balances on their cards, no derogatories, that's when we can go to work and get them the funding. And in the end, they still own 100% of their company, and they have the money to go forward. Now, it can be a husband and wife. Maybe the husband doesn't have good credit, but the wife does. It could be 4 people starting a business. One has no credit. One has $50,000. One has $100,000. One has $150,000. Well, now they have $300,000 to start their business, whereas before they had nothing.
Okay. So that's a big help to any business.
Absolutely, because this is revolving. And so they can always pay it down. We try to get them 0% APR for the first year. And again, it's on the strength of their credit. And so we always tell them that in that interim period, when you're needing funds, but let's say they got $100,000 and they use $25,000 of the 100 line, they're not on the hook for 100. They're only on the hook for what they use. They're paying probably 2% back on the outstanding balance. So that's about $500 a month to maintain that, keep that credit alive. And so that definitely will help a company, because we see people who come to us now like manufacturers, and they get usually, let's say they're starting out, they have, 25,000 each month in orders, and all of the blue, they get 125,000. They don't have the money to fund that purchase order, because they have to manufacture the product, send the product, invoice the client, and then they could wait 60 to 90 days before they see a nickel. So when they go to a factor will charge them 20 to 30% per month.
Oh, wow.
Yep, we charge a very low fee. The industry standard is 12.5 points, which is of the 20, that was the average. We charge 7.5. We're by far the lowest in the industry. And when factors or other people see that, they go, wow, where do I sign? Because they can't beat that anywhere.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, do you have like a high rate of default, or how would you say, like, how successful is it under that model?
Well, here's the thing. It's not us doing the funding. Remember I mentioned the banks earlier?
Yes.
If you walk into the local branches of any of these banks, they'll tell you no. We go to the headquarters through another way, and we turn it into a yes. And we have right now a list of about 200 banks, credit unions, and other credit institutions. And so we try to match the person's credit with the ones most likely to get instant approval. Sometimes we get $10,000, $20,000 within 5 minutes of putting it in an app. Boom, just comes in. And so that's their big service. That's why we charge a fee, because people have said in the past, hey, I can do this on my own, I don't need you guys, and you won't follow up and say, oh, how'd you do, Joe? Oh, I got 20,000. And we have two credit lines. They both say we could have got that person easily over 100.
Oh, wow. Okay, we are up against a break. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I am your business diva, Melanie Collette. We are on with Bill Murray today. He is the CEO of Christian Angel Investors. Very great, very good information he is providing us with today. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com. And maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcast. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. For 2 miles from the state capital, the Lowy-King Zeppelin's Preserve Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow government, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the unpleasant blind guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackheads. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, obliviating Zeppelin sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads against tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday night. Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
SHRmedia.com.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing.
Hi, Bill. The other feed dropped for some reason, so I
Yeah,
picked you.
it just dropped. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know why either, but I picked you up on this one. Hang on.
Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Place Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
By race, Christian by faith, American nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm
Just for the right way with Shannon and Mike. Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
why are they joining?
For fun things like sports, politics,
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
and all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events? All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com. ABC. So the plans are working. Got rid of Sacco. Sean's is now slipping away. And I know, insidious. You know, we talked about this for a good for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition. You know, I'm still in the room, right? It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of
It's amazing. It's kind of eerie. Like a poltergeisty thing.
Sackheads against tyranny.
You listen to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back. Listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm business diva Melanie Collette. I'm just kind of giggling a little bit because I usually don't get that far in my promos. So that's the first time I heard that one. It's pretty good. My boss, the boss man, Sackhead Sean, what they were talking about is they had a show called Sackheads. And unfortunately, the boss man had to work on the network a little more and is no longer on the show. So they have a new show called Sackheads Against Tyranny. It's a good show. You should check it out. So that's what that ad was for that I had not gotten to yet. Usually I'm so far into the conversation that I don't get there. I was kind of glad I got to that promo. Okay. So we're talking to Bill Murray. He's the CEO at Christian Angel Investors, and we're talking about all of the services that Christian Angel Investors provides, and how it's really beneficial to small businesses. So let me ask you this now: is there you have a new, innovative, different kind of funding, unsecured funding that you can't get? That you can't get in normal places. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. See, the word there is unsecured, Melanie, because again, even if you have collateral, the banks are going to give a startup any money, and even if you have good, some cash flow. I talked to a branch manager here the other day of a large bank, and it's one of the biggest branches here in Las Vegas, and he's turning down people with 800 FICO scores, people with over 100,000 in monthly turnover, and he said they can't even get a $100,000 loan from us right now.
Now, why is that? Is that because of regulations, or is that because because of the? I thought that, to be honest, since Trump was elected, that they had drawn back on things like the Sarbanes-Oxley and that kind of stuff, and it was made a little bit easier. But is that not the case?
Well, that's not the case, and here that kind of brings me. That's a good. When you mention the government. Back in April of 2012, remember the Jobs Act, Jumpstart Our Businesses Act. It was signed by President Obama. It had gone through both houses, the Congress and the Senate, super fast because it went through, was supported by both Democrats and Republicans because they saw it as a way to help entrepreneurs get a business off the ground with investors, a much easier way. And so we were elated. We thought, wow, this is going to be so great because we'll turn our website into a portal. It means that, a company then can offer its shares to the general public, not just accredited millionaires. And, but then it took the SEC, who was tasked to create the rules and regs, took them almost 4 years, till 2016, to come out with the final version, and they killed it.
Of course.
You give it to them, and boy, they'll figure fight. They put hurdle after hurdle. And so that's why you don't see much action there now, which is really sad, because it had good promise. Now, one thing that I can say that's very positive is that we're in the golden age of entrepreneurship for men and women. At no other time in our nation's history, I don't think the world, is it easier to start a business and then advertise your business almost for free and get support, for your business. Now, when you look at the number of businesses started each year, the SBA used to say that's about 650,000 each year, which I ran with for many years. I thought that's a lot, 650,000. The Small Business Administration says. But Forbes did a great article a couple of years ago, very well researched, and the number is wrong. It's actually 350,000 each month.
Oh, wow!
Let me repeat that: 350,000 each month, which is over 3 million a year. And whenever the government job statistics come out, like last month, they said only 115,000 jobs were created. That is so off base because it doesn't count the number of people who started their own business, created their own job.
Oh, sure. You're right about that. And, they're always honest and thorough about their statistics, so you should just totally believe everything.
Yeah, right. When you ask people why they start, well, we get a lot of people who retired or they were downsized, and it's because of age. Of course, the company doesn't say that, but when people have been at a company for 20 years and they're getting up there and they get downsized, and then a little later they find out that somebody who's 40 years younger replaced them at less salary.
Oh, well,
so, yeah. They don't want to go out and look for work. I have knowledge. I'm going to sell myself. I'm going to start my own business.
And then
you have.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's truly how a lot of small businesses start.
Yep. Men and women are leaving the workforce to start their own business, which is a whole lot. But if you look at the people looking for work, they're not counted anymore either because they've worked so long. But then they decide, hey, I got to eat, so I got to start my own business.
Very true. I have a question in the Facebook chat. Somebody wants to know if you do any Bitcoin, and I would stretch that question out and say any cryptocurrency investing.
Well, again, we don't judge the model, and if they have all the information that investors need, then the investors will decide if that's something that they would like to do.
Gotcha. But that's not something that you guys are involved in at all.
Well, I need to clarify something. This is very important, Melanie. We don't choose investments for investors. We don't steer entrepreneurs towards any investors because otherwise we would have to be a licensed brokerage or wealth management company. Everybody here would have to have a securities license. So once they go into that password protected investor area, they're on their own. Everybody has an equal playing field, and we say that, we stress that. We're not picking favorites. We're not saying, oh yeah, guys, look at this company. That doesn't happen. If somebody hands somebody a check today for $1 million, God bless them, we don't get a nickel because if we got a finder's fee, we would be again a brokerage or a wealth management company.
Yes.
Have to have a license.
Yes, very true. And then that gets into I have my insurance license, so trust me, I know that gets into a whole lot of complex compliance and all kinds of crazy stuff. All out there to protect the consumer, and yet and still they seem to have all kinds, like scammers can still get to you for some reason and break all these regulations and laws that they have. Like literally what I just told you about, and you probably know this being in the investing, in that realm, in that finance business, that, literally all I can basically tell you about what I do for insurance is that I do it. That's it. Otherwise.
Yeah, because they're very strict. I mean, we get tested periodically. And this is just a typical call. We've had like 3 or 4 of these type of calls. Someone calls who sounds like a very elderly, lady, and she goes, well, my husband just died, and he left me substantial money, and I want to put $200,000 into one of your startups.
Oh, wow.
And I say very plainly, well, ma'am, I'm very sorry for your loss. What we can strongly urge you is that this is not the place for your money. This is very risky here. So we advise you to find a good, reputable wealth management company in your area and go visit them and then tell them that you want your money in a very safe place.
And it's a good thing she came to you and not some other shyster.
Well, actually, we think it's the SEC or FINRA playing with us. We think it's actually was set up. It's a setup. They're looking to see what we say. Because if I said, "Oh, wow, great, send your check in tomorrow," I guarantee you
that might be a problem.
The SEC would be in my office tomorrow.
You're right about that. You are right about that. So you said that 200 banks offer the kind of the kind of funding that you're offering. And do they ever advertise for this kind of funding? Like, how do people find out about it?
That's an interesting thing. There are advertisements, and what usually you'll see something like unsecured loans for startups. Now, if you Google that, you're going to get, again, there's about only 20 companies in the space. Now, the one thing that you have to look at is the number of things. Now, some of them will give you online, like they'll say pre-qualified. And we always tell people, don't put your security, number or anything on any of those, because one, that's very dangerous.
Right.
So when people come to us, we handle that information a whole different way. We keep it on the server that's not on the internet, and that kind of thing. Because people put too much information on not knowing where it's going. So we don't mind if they look at competitors, but we just don't be very cautious how much information you're asking before that you even know who they are. But there's only 20. Some advertise in different places, like maybe Entrepreneur Magazine or something. I don't know. We don't advertise because we have kind of a niche. And when people Google Christian angel investors or Christian investors or Christian funding, they always come to us.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yep.
And do you ever partner with any other Christian firms, or are you guys pretty singularly like a standalone? Because there are only a few of you.
That's a good question. Now, in this space, there's only what we found is one other company based in California that kind of does what we do, and they came on the scene about a year ago. But what we do, though, is sometimes people are beyond angels. You know, they're looking for $5 million or something.
Right.
And we do have connections with Christians in the venture capital world. There's no such thing as a venture capital or Christian venture capital firm. But there are Christians who work in venture capital. I know about 40 of them. And they're looking for good deal flow, and they like us because of the integrity factor. Because they tell us they get lied to all day long.
Oh, very true. Very true. I know I had the president of, I want to say a company is called Beacon of Wealth, and they are a Christian financial advising firm. And they help connect Christians with, they only invest their money in things that are pro-Christian. For example, they wouldn't invest in Planned Parenthood. It's just like an example. And they would never, they wouldn't deal with somebody like that. So their company came to mind when I was thinking about what your company does. And since you're not an actual investing firm, that just seems to me to be someone you could probably partner with if you wanted to recommend somebody. I'm doing a little bit of legwork for you, but that's for them. But that's just something that came to mind. If you had somebody calling about financial advising and they were a Christian and wanted to kind of stay within that area, and justifiably so, that might be an avenue to want to go. We only have a couple of minutes left in the show. Please tell the audience if they'd like to avail themselves of your services, how they might reach you.
Very simple. Just type ChristianAngelInvestors.com, and if you ever forget that, just type Christian Investors, Christian Angel Investors. You'll come to us because we'll be on the top of the line on the list on the Google page or Yahoo or whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And then when you go there, the first page is about investors and doing that route. We're looking to sell equity to investors. But page 2 says it's about the unsecured funding, and it's very apparent when you go there what it's about. So there's a movie. Watch the movie. There's buttons to connect with us. You fill out a quick survey, kind of give us a little heads up of what you're looking for, and then we follow up almost right as soon as possible with an email and a phone call.
Excellent. I posted the website in the Facey chat twice, so people can click on that. And if anyone is listening and would like to get you on their podcast or on their show, how can they do that? Oh, Kevin Cullis says connect with Bill on LinkedIn. Kevin's all over it. He's in the Facey chat. But if they want to get you, if they'd like to get you to speak or be on their show, how can they contact you?
Yes, I have an email. It's bill@ChristianAngelInvestors.com. I'm the only Bill here, so bill@ChristianAngelInvestors.com, and that'll get to me.
There we go. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for doing the show today. I'm sorry about the hiccups at the beginning. It does not usually happen, but occasionally it does. I want to thank everyone on the Facey chat, everyone in SHR Media and High Place Pundit Talk Radio Land. You guys completely rock. If you are listening to this as a downloaded podcast, which most of you do, I do indeed appreciate you taking the time to listen to Money Talk with Melanie. Remember, all of this is very important because after all, it's your money. Have a great weekend.